folk music sure is depressing. Yeah. Jeez. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Man, give it up for the Couth Buzzard for letting us do this thing. And then give it up for Sarah behind that bar there, serving up all those. Man, I am so happy to be here on Sad Night. I love sadness so much. Now, I should explain something first to those of you, because I didn't hear it explained yet, but there's a difference between depression and sadness. And I'm fortunate that I get both of them. But the drugs for sadness are so much better. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure. Not like you have a doctor telling you what to do. And the other thing is so much better is music. I love sad music. I love being sad. And I'll tell you what my favorite sad song of all time is. My favorite sad song of all time is Frank Sinatra singing, "It's 2:45. There's no one in the place except you and me." How many of you know that song? You all know. Of course you do. You better raise your hands because we might be singing it in just a minute. So, yeah. That song, man, I love that song. And that song, it was first introduced to the world in a movie called The Sky's the Limit. And it actually starred Fred Astaire. So he was the first one who sang it. And, you know, that's cool, except I think Frank Sinatra's way cooler than Fred Astaire. Like, totally way cooler. I would love to see Frank Sinatra in a bar when I'm feeling sad, because, you know, like if I was sad because of a breakup or something, I could say, "Frank, I'm feeling so sad." And he could say, "Why are you sad?" Because he left me. And he could say, "Hold on." He'd make one phone call and my problem would be gone like that. I love Frank. He's cool. And in 1947 on Columbia Records, he sang his first version of it. He sang it again in 1954 on the Young at Heart soundtrack. And then in 1958, he sang it again for Columbia. That's the best known version of it on an album called Frank Sinatra Sings for Only the Lonely. Man, that's a good album too, if you haven't heard it. He sang it a few more extra times too, but I'm not going to tell you about those because I want to talk about other stuff now. I'm bored. So I wanted to talk about who wrote this song. And the person who wrote this song is Harold Arlen. And you may have heard of Harold Arlen before. He wrote the songs for The Wizard of Oz. Have you all seen that movie, The Wizard of Oz? It's got these little people and like witches and stuff. It's really cool if you haven't seen it. So, and he wrote those. And he wrote one of my favorite songs, Paper Moon. Oh, it's only a paper moon, which was turned into the most fabulous movie by Peter Bogdanovich. And then it was turned into a TV show. And the movie had little Hayden O'Neill. And on the TV show, they got little Jodie Foster to play the same role. But it was canceled right away for no good reason. And Ryan O'Neill was in the movie, and I love Ryan O'Neill. He's so sexy in that movie. And then for the TV show, they got Chris Conley. And Ryan O'Neill and Chris Conley used to play brothers on Peyton Place. He also wrote The Man That Got Away, which, of course, we know Judy Garland sang in her version of A Star Is Born. Not The Star Is Born starring Janet Gaynor, which was the original, and not The Star Is Born that was starring Barbra Streisand. So it was Judy Garland and Barbra Streisand, and now we have Lady Gaga. Somehow they skipped over Bette and Madonna. I don't know how. But we gays need a recall. So, and he also wrote Stormy Weather, and then he wrote it with a man named Johnny Mercer, who most of you probably have. And Johnny Mercer, now he wrote a lot of music, and he had a gap in his tooth, like Lauren Bacall. Not Lauren Bacall, is it Lauren Hutton? Like Lauren Hutton, yeah, that Lauren. There's so many Laurens in the world for a name that doesn't even make sense. And he wrote, I'm an old cowhand, and you must have been a beautiful baby. Oh, that's a good one. You must have been a beautiful baby. You must have wrote some words I can't remember. And a fool's rushed in. And Skylark. Have you I love that Old Black Magic. Oh, that Old Black Magic. He wrote that one. That's a good one for this time of year, you know, magic. And he also wrote I Remember You. Now, he wrote I Remember You and he wrote 2:45 about Judy Garland, who he was in love with, he was 30, she was 18. They were an item. They broke up because it was kind of taboo. Can you believe it's taboo to sleep with an 18-year-old? Who knew? But he got married. His wife didn't even want him mentioning Judy Garland. His wife was like, she said, don't mention Judy Garland in here, don't mention it, so they couldn't have any gay friends come over. Really hard on everybody. It really was. It was hard. But it's really, you can have fun being sad. You can really have a great time being sad. I have some tips for you. Now, if you're going to be sad like they are in 2:45, the official drink of being sad is the martini. Now, the martini, you need 2.5 ounces of gin. You need 1/2 ounce of very dry vermouth. You need 1/4 to 1/2 ounce of olive juice. And it says in the recipe 2 to 3 olives. I suggest 7 to 8 olives. I like a little more olives than I do the gin. You can also make this with vodka if you're absolutely crazy and have no taste buds whatsoever. And if you don't drink, you can make a mocktail. You can use whatever you want. You can use some sparkling water and something really boring and drink, because that is 2:45. You want to be drinking a martini. And then cigarettes. Now, cigarettes are the ultimate for when you're sad and you want to be like Frank Sinatra. Unfortunately, I don't approve of cigarettes. I think they're bad for you. So if you already smoke, then go ahead and get sad and enjoy yourself. But if you don't smoke already, don't start unless there's another way to smoke. And these are called jazz cigarettes. And you can do that when you're sad. Now, jazz cigarettes aren't really this big. They're actually more like, they're like this size. So, jazz cigarette size. And you can do that. You feel so good. Now, another thing you need if you're going to be really sad is she said, I know the routine. I put another nickel in the machine. Now that machine he's talking about is a jukebox. And the nickel he's going to put in the jukebox. And that nickel is no longer worth anything. You used to be able to get music, and it was so cool because when you put the sound of a nickel going into a jukebox, oh my God, it's glorious. And the sound of a quarter going into a jukebox, even more glorious. And the sound of a dollar bill going into a jukebox, the world is ending, people. We have destroyed it. Bring back some really lovely sounds to get sad to. It makes me so depressed that we don't have that kind of stuff. And here I want to enjoy my sadness. The jukebox that you need when you're sad, because you sit in the bar and you play on the jukebox. It's like Frank Sinatra, he's talking about set him up Joe. Joe turns out to be a bartender. You find that out right away. Joe, in the little short that you see online on YouTube that you can watch, looks kind of like Popeye. This will come into play later. Popeye is a bartender who serves Frank Sinatra a drink before Frank Sinatra goes out on the road. Probably to kill people. And it's okay. I mean, he's Italian. So, but I when I was like 18 and I was really into getting sad, because it made me feel like an adult. I wanted to get sad so much I smoked cigarettes and I had my drinks because I got into bars because I had a phony ID because I was smart. And I used to go to this bar, and it was a gay bar, and it had this little country western front bar, and they had a jukebox in there, and they had a bartender I was in love with, and I would get up all the time and I would play Crystal Gayle's Talking in Your Sleep. Oh my God! 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, look, I have the words right here. 3 o'clock in the morning, and it looks like it's going to be another sleepless night. I've been listening to your dreams and getting very low, wondering what I can do. Listening to your dreams, oh, isn't that a beautiful way to say that you're cheating on me? I love that. I love it. Maybe I'm being foolish. Maybe I never heard you mention anybody's name at all. How I wish it could be me that turns you on. each time you close your eyes. Crystal Gayle, of course, is Loretta Lynn's sister. And if you're under 18, you have no idea what I've said for the last 4 minutes. I love Crystal Gayle. And Crystal Gayle had this long hair, like Loretta Lynn would do the country stuff like that, but Crystal Gayle, she had this long hair. It went like way below her waist, and she was so cool. She's still alive, but I don't care anymore. I mean, seriously, I got my own life, Crystal. I can't be all following you around. So, but I love her a lot. She's great. And so Crystal Gayle, I really love, and there's a lot of people who've covered this song, and I try to capture a few of the ones that I really like. There's Fred Astaire, and his version, it's not so great because it's a really sad song, but halfway through the song, he jumps on the bar and starts dancing around. That's not sadness. I mean, it's happiness, and I think sadness is happiness, so I guess it is a type of sadness. But I don't go tap dancing on a bar when I'm sad. I drink at a bar like an adult. Billie Holiday, she knew sadness. She knew a lot of sadness, and she sings this song too, and it's a great version. Perry Como, anyway, Julie London. Julie London, I love Julie London. Now that's a voice, and I love her. And then Chuck Berry, Johnny Be Good, Chuck Berry, My Ding-a-ling, Chuck Berry. He sings this song, and you should go listen to it. It's really great the way he sings it. It's a totally un-Chuck Berry song, which makes you think, what's the point? If I want to listen to Chuck Berry, I want to hear Chuck Berry. But it's still good. Listen to it. Just don't expect Chuck Berry. Another list I have in my pocket, and I'm going to rush through this because I know I take a lot of time here, and I just want to explain that a lot of people have covered this song. Wes Montgomery, this one will be important to you, Frank Stallone, Frankie Lane, Iggy Pop. Iggy has a really cool version of this, I gotta say. Hats off to Iggy. And here's a version that, for you Seattle people, Kenny G. So if you want to
oh God, no!
If you like the song, but you don't want to ever listen to it because it's too sad, buy the Kenny G and never listen to it. And that's a good rule for any Kenny G right there. Lena Horne, now she sang it. Lou Rawls, I love. Marlene Dietrich, she sang it probably in German and English. I don't know, I've never heard her version, but I sure love her. Marvin Gaye sang this song. Oh my God, and Sammy Davis Jr. Is there another entertainer as brilliant as Sammy Davis Jr. was? The answer is no. The answer is no. Sammy Davis Jr. was brilliant, he was happy, and he made me feel good, and he could make me cry because he talked about Bojangles and the dog up and died, and I said, I need a martini so bad right now. Rosemary Clooney also sang the song. And Willie Nelson sang this song. Probably not with the tobacco cigarettes. And anyway. And Robbie Williams, did people know who Robbie Williams is? He's this British singer. And he, I think he was in a boy band originally, but he does a lot of music, and he's really, really good looking. And he's British, but he has pretty decent teeth. Anyway, those are some of the people that sing the song. And then with one of the other most famous versions is Bette Midler. Now Bette Midler, she sang this song on the very last Tonight Show with Johnny Carson where he had guests. And he had guests on his show, 2 for that night. Robin Williams, who played Popeye in the movies, just like Joe the bartender. And Bette Midler. And she sang 2 songs, and the last song she sang was a Goodbye to Johnny. She sang Goodbye to Johnny by singing, it's 2:45. There's no one in the place except you or me. And she smiles, because Bette is the ultimate entertainer, and she smiles. And then at the end of the song, she runs over and she puts a lei on Johnny Carson, because she's from Hawaii, in case you didn't know. And if you didn't know that, you sure ain't gay, because we know everything. We know the Bette story. story. Jesus? Have no idea. I think he's the one who walked in the desert. Bet, born in Hawaii. That's kind of a Johnny Carson down there. I love Bet's version. And then as she got to the end, she put the lei on, and then she had to run off stage because she started crying. She didn't want anybody to see her cry because it's so sad. And that's what sadness makes you do. It makes you cry, which is so fun. I love. It's just like, oh my God, it's just like all coming out. Because here's what I think. I think you need to feel your emotions. We have all these emotions, and we have them for good reasons. So go ahead and feel them. Feel them. Feel happy if you want to feel happy. If you feel sad, just let yourself feel sad. If you feel angry, like I did when I was driving up here, roll down your window and drive like this for a second. Go ahead and feel it. Allow yourself to be human. And I do love this song, and I want to hear everybody sing it. So I'll start, but we got to all sing together. It's 2:45. There's no one in the place
Except you and me.
So stand up, Joe. I got a little story
You ought to know. We're drinking, my friend,
to the
end
of a brief episode. So make it
one for my baby and one more for the road.
Thank you all so much.